lots of spreadsheets, lots of data, lots of hours at night while I was studying at the same time. And then at some point we actually launched a book, and we realized, okay, we need to have an office. So these are the pictures I've never shown before. But these are the pictures of the office that we had when we shot in the office back in the day. So this is a view from the office. This is what it looked like. These are the beds we slept on for 3 months. Feldbed, you know Feldbed? It's no fun. It's no fun at all, right? So we had a little problem because we moved into the office, but we didn't have displays. So this was a bit of a problem, right? We did have keyboards, we didn't have displays. So it was fun. But then at the same time, 2010 or so, a bit later, I had a really difficult time because I couldn't identify myself with what we're doing. So you know Smashing Mac, lists, roundups, and this kind of thing, right? 53 wonderful yellow websites. Who remembers this? Somebody? Yeah? Some people? So it was really important for me to make this editorial move, a major move. So we created something that we called the Experts Panel, where we actually tried to move away from these popular articles to more educational articles. So we installed an Experts Panel, where we have 120 members of the community, different members of different communities and web design, who all review articles before they get published, right? So for an article to get published, we need to have at least 2 independent reviewers who provide rating and assessment of the article. And they also rate it from 1 to 5 stars. So in order for an article to get published, you need to have at least 3.7 stars. So many writers are not happy with this. And this is what the editorial plan, or actually the structure behind, looks like today. So we have, for example, articles, and we have reviews, and we're kind of trying to keep track of what's going on. And at the same time, we also know, okay, feedback was sent to the author, revision received, uploaded in WordPress, and so on. So it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work. And we did this extensive articles going to libraries and doing a lot of research, but people were still recognizing us as a list blog, right? Which I really didn't like, because I didn't want to be running a list blog. So this is one of the articles that actually changed a lot. Smashing Magazine killed the community, or maybe it was me, right? But we moved away from this. So this has been really, really important to me. And then recently, we did a redesign, 1.5 years ago now. And I think this is what you see when you think about smashing today. I think this clicker isn't working properly. Sorry about this. So over time, I wanted to be a web designer. And in the end, I started doing all kind of weird stuff. So we do books and ebooks and library and conferences and workshops. I am editor-in-chief, but I'm not building websites anymore. It was kind of a bit disappointing. So I did learn my lessons. For running the magazine, for running any website or any good product, you need, but there are also things you don't need. We don't have any contracts at all. At all. Not even one author has a contract with us. We don't care about this. We don't even have deadlines. When an article is submitted and it's a good quality, we're getting it, it's fine, we're publishing it. If not, we're taking all the time it needs. We don't need many articles, we don't need investors. I hate being told what to do. We're doing essentially we're doing what we want to do. This is very, very important. Something is really wrong with this clicker. And you don't need to compromise. So it's been many, many times I said no to articles, to people, to anybody. And it's been very helpful. Because you understand that you have to do it, right? You have to say no very often. You can't compromise your principles. So we established a set of rules that are published on the site, and we're sticking to it no matter what happens. So honest advertising is okay. Do you like ads and smashing? No. Probably not, right? Neither do I, but we have to live with it. But we have clear rules. So we have to say no to affiliate marketing, no to sponsored posts, no sponsored competitions, no press releases. So now I'm going to reveal something that you please Please do not tweet this, right? Can you promise me that? Well, if one person tweets, I will find you. Okay? So you might have seen this form on Smashing Magazine. Do you know what happens if you click this radio button? Press release on the bottom. This one. It goes right into spam. So I don't believe in press releases, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know that. And any press release I get gets deleted right away. So what we learned, of course, is that content is very expensive. For us, each article costs around $850. Just think about it, it's a lot of money, including proofreaders, editors, illustrators, authors, obviously, reviewers. It sums up, right? So it makes $17,000 a month. So that's quite a sum of money, which is why I published this article, that good content is available to die, after this happened. And you might have seen this when .NET Magazine just decided to remove 9,500 articles, like that, from the site. So they actually brought it back now, so that's good. So let me just skip quickly. Sorry. So all of this happened, right? When I started out, I wanted to design websites. And over time, we developed this massively quite advanced, sophisticated system, editorial panel, and a system where articles get published about web design and web development, which is good. But in March 2013, something happened that changed it all radically. So it's been a very difficult year for me. Many things happened, not good things. And I started asking myself, so I've been doing it for 7 years now, right? Essentially writing articles or editing articles or doing this stuff that's related to web development, web design. How many of you actually are doing web design for more than 5 years now? Okay, more than 7 years? Oh, okay, more than 10 years? What's wrong with you people? Seriously? Okay. Okay, more than 12 years, come on. Who are you? Okay, more than 15 years. Okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Okay. But March, it was a really difficult time for me, so I started asking myself, is it something I really want to do? So I kind of stepped away for a while. I haven't tweeted for a while in March. And we published some articles which I really didn't like because I wasn't in charge anymore. So I kind of moved away and I asked myself, if I didn't earn any money from this, like 7 years ago, would I still be doing the same thing? And if I did, how would I do it? Right? Of course, obviously, I can't just reset what you do just to going back in time. This is not how it works. But I asked myself, okay, so I'm not going to take any money from the company. I'm not going to earn anything. I want to move away. I want to step back for a while and just explore what I really want to do. So I had 2 miserable weeks. I had nothing to do. I watched TV and ate popcorn or whatever. It was weird. And I bought all kinds of books that I never read, right? And I went to store and bought stuff I never need, right? But it was interesting. It was kind of a phase of self-discovery for me. And then I discovered something. So at one time, I woke up at 5:26. It was actually 2 or 3 weeks after that. And I really wanted to do this stuff again. So I woke up at 5:26. I turned on the laptop and I wanted to check my emails. I started editing, I started looking into web. I started to look at the articles, I started writing again. It was really, really exciting. It was immensely exciting for me. And because I woke up so early, it was great, right? Nobody is around, nobody can distract you. You just do what you want to do. So this timing between 5:26 a.m. And 11 a.m. this very day was probably the best time of my life. And I'm not exaggerating now. I was really into this, right? So starting from this day, essentially I wake up every morning now at 5:26. I actually put it on my alarm clock in the phone. And this time between 5:26 to 10 every day is actually the most productive, the best time I have. And also because you kind of wake up so early, the time you have between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m., you can do whatever you want to do because you have full day for you. So I started reading again. So I started jogging again, this kind of stuff. It was really, really massively helpful, massively amazing. 5:26 a.m. And then something happened that actually changed it all again. So I got an email from a teacher in South Africa. It was actually a couple of years ago, but I got reminded of this. I got an email from a teacher from South Africa, and they didn't have a lot of teaching material in school, right? So what they did is, every day they would go on smashingmagazine.com, they'd print out an article that we publish, and this would be the material that they teach this day, right? So when these things happen, when you get these kind of emails, it changes everything. Because what you do actually makes a difference. What you do makes a huge difference. We just need to realize that. It's a very, very big deal. So that student from South Africa sent an email saying that I don't know what my life is going to be like, but I would like to become a web designer when I grow up, right? It was so important for me. This one email is actually the result of what I do for 7 years now. And this one email is the reason why I will keep going, right? Because this is massively amazing. Because I remember, and you remember this as well, right? When you started out and you go to parties and you say, so what do you do for a living? And you say, I build websites. Seriously? Get a job, right? Do you remember this? This happened to me all the time in 90s or early 2000s. Nobody respected what we do, right? But now we're in a wonderful position because the web is so rich, right? So I started doing websites, and now I'm running a company, and we're a publishing house, and we're running conferences and events, right? So even this person who will, wants to become a web designer someday, maybe he will be something entirely different in 7 or 8 years, right? And that's okay. But the best thing is, because we're in such a rich medium today, in such a rich environment, we can do whatever we want, and we can become really, really big over time. So this is kind of one part I wanted to focus I just had to say that. I'm sorry about this. It's been kind of sitting in my head for a while now. I do want to inspire you though, after half an hour. Sorry about that. I want to talk about things that inspire me most today on the web. So, and these are the reasons why I keep going every single day. So, we've been developing pages for a while, or websites, collection of pages, right? But we haven't been thinking about designing systems as much as we perhaps should do. So what I'm really excited about is this idea of developing, instead of a set of pages, a set of components, reusable components that we can use over time. So in the 60s, or maybe 70s, Paul Rand, famous designer, was asked to design the logo for Westinghouse, right? So he could have designed just a logo, right? But instead, he was thinking, okay, so what are the different contexts in which this logo can be used? So he was thinking about having a system, typographic system, but also a visual system, on how the thing would look like on different media, right? On packages, on labels, on letterheads, and so on, right? So he was thinking with a system in place. And we have something similar today as well, with atomic design, right? Where instead of starting with Photoshop or starting in browser or whatever, we actually start with little pieces, then build websites out of them, right? So we start with atoms, right? The smallest units, compound units that we can have today. It could be form, input, stuff like that. I will get back to it in a second. And then out of these atoms, we build molecules, and then molecules, organisms, templates, and pages. So here are the atoms, the minimal elements that we can have. It can be a little label, input, and button. Then we can combine them, right? And then we create this kind of a form environment. right? This becomes a search box, right? And out of search box, we can create navigation, right? And then it can grow, and then becomes an organism, a different organism over here, right? Different navigations. And then at the same time, at some point, we are kind of breaking the medium, adding real content to the page, going from template to the actual layout, right? But building from really, really tiny components. So this is how it could look like, right? Instead of kind of creating layouts, first we create this kind of theme, or atmosphere, how some people call it, right? Where we define the colors, define typography, define the icons, define the buttons, and all these different user interface elements, and then we're building from out of it, right? Or maybe this is how a deliverable could look like. It doesn't have to be a Photoshop file, right? Could be. But this is what the client could get instead of an actual layout, an actual page, right? Because it kind of gives an atmosphere, provides some sense of visual direction of where it's going, right? But maybe, just maybe, we are thinking a bit too much about layout still. So I really like this idea of introducing some kind of visual system that goes beyond actually building layouts. So 37 Signals have their blog, Signal versus Noise, right? And they wanted to have a nice new branding, right? So what they did is they started looking, okay, what does signal versus noise mean, right? You think about signal versus noise, you might think about waves. So this is what they did, right? They started looking into physics textbooks, actually, started analyzing waves, looking into different kind of waves. And then I started thinking, okay, so we have different kinds of content on the site, right? So we have design section. It should stand for balance and written. We have programming, elegance, right? Business, it's all about exchange, right? Writing, it's all about clarity. Sysadmin, structure and ease. And then support, it's all about understanding, right? Which is a really interesting way of thinking about this. So they build this kind of visual system out of waves. So this is kind of the visual identity they have. But I really like this idea of having a system. And you might think, okay, come on, clients won't just accept this kind of deliverable, right? Right? Clients like PSDs, right? Right? Most clients like PSDs. I mean, it doesn't work in practice. So here's an idea. Some of you might be familiar with No Domain. It's a design agency from Spain. And so they had a client, they had a French company coming to them and say, hey, it's Canal 3XL. We want to have a new TV branding. We want to have a new logo, new identity. We want to be different in many different ways. So just create a new identity for us. So you think that the normal deliverable would be a MOV file, QuickTime file maybe, right? Just, it has to be kind of brand identity, right? So they did something special. They went into archives from Canal 3XL, and they spent months there studying the footage, VHS and CD footage. And if you look at TV, sometimes you'll find these weird pixels and artifacts on the screen, right? When things kind of go wrong. You know what I mean? Like this kind of thing. Oh, sorry, you don't see it? When things go wrong. So they started classifying it, they started grouping it, they started categorizing it, and mimicking it using After Effects. So this was their final deliverable. Can we turn up the volume again, please? So they created all these effects, and then they created a pattern library with all these weird effects, so that when a new show comes up, essentially the whole visual identity is generated on the fly using these different patterns. So this is how the introduction looks like, for example. But it's all generated on the fly automatically. Right? It's scary, I know, sorry about this. But it's a really interesting way of thinking about this. So that deliverable wasn't just a MOV file. It was very much like what we could do in web design, right? It was just a pattern library of different visual effects. So all these things are generated automatically, which is really, really nice idea. I don't say that you have to do this, right? But it's very interesting. So if other industries are doing it, we can do it as well. Another interesting idea is the idea of progressive reduction in interfaces. So when we think about interfaces, we tend to think about moments of development. Meaning, we have an interface, and then some time passes by, and we have this new release, and it's being rolled out, right? And then we have a new version of the interface. And then over time, we have a new release, and we have a new version of interface. But the users, well, essentially they're seeing the same thing. So the idea is, what if we think about interfaces a bit differently? So Alan Greenstein wrote this interesting article about experience decays. He said your proficiency in a product will decay over time without usage. As such, this proficiency is reflected in experience decays over time. This decays should be avoided at all costs. So of course, if you're using the interface, you know exactly what you're doing. If you're not using the interface, you kind of keep forgetting things, you keep forgetting how it works maybe, so you have to be reminded. I really like this idea of experience decays. So here's the idea. We should consider usability to be a moving target. Users get smarter or dumber, right, at the product if they keep using it or not use it anymore, right? So an interface should adapt and enable users to become more efficient at using it. And so the basic idea here is to change the interface as the user moves from different stages of proficiency. So in the beginning, when a user signs up for an interface, for a website, this is the button he or she could get, right? It says sign post, it has an icon, right? Over time, if the user keeps using the interface could fade away, leaving the button first, the icon, sorry, and then kind of reducing further, right? Changing the interface. But that means that if a person doesn't use an interface for a while, over time, maybe within 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, the interface would change again from this to this, and then back to this, right? So we can consider usability and interface to be changing all the time. So essentially, for every different interface component that we have, we could design different variations that would actually could be assigned to different levels of proficiency in the interface. I don't want to go through too many details now. Another important thing is, of course, performance. We kind of tend to think that performance is, performance is this thing for weird, nasty people, Linux guys. We don't want to talk to them, right? We are, we're doing our back-end and front-end, and they do their magic voodoo with Linux and stuff. We don't want to talk to them. But performance is design as well, and performance is very, very important. Because who really wants to wait while they're waiting? I don't think nobody likes waiting, right? And the problem is, if you want the interface to be snappy, you have to be really, really snappy. So if a site responds within 1 second, then experience feels instant. This is what we want to have. But 1 second, especially in mobile networks, it's a very, very short time, right? If it takes more than 2.5 seconds, people start falling off. So we have this really, really small window, time window, up to 2.5 seconds, where we have to make sure that the interface responds, right? So, I'm sorry about this clicker. But it's very difficult to argue about performance, right? You have your metrics, but it doesn't say much, because performance itself, by default, is invisible. So what we can do, we can kind of show to the client, if he wants to have real comparison, we can show them what it means that you have a to have a fast, to have a good performance, and what it means that you have a bad performance. So an example for that is web page test. We can actually go and say, hey, you know what? Here are 2 websites. Here is yours, and here is your competitor's website. Which one is loading faster, right? This is kind of a really nice idea of visualizing what it actually means, what performance actually means. Because of course, the more time it takes for a website to load, the more visitors will actually leave. But, performance is kind of, we do so much. I mean, you are smart people, right? Performance, well, we can go just so far as optimizing it. I mean, we can compress CSS, JavaScript, and do it all, but it's just, we can't go too far. And if we want to make a really noticeable performance improvement, well, it's really, really hard. Try that with JavaScript and CSS. We have to do refactoring all the time and so on. But performance is important. So this guy went ahead and try to figure out, okay, what roaming costs are worldwide. Okay, so I started mimicking him. So I went to Moscow 2.5 weeks ago. And I realized if I want to use roaming, it'll cost me 79 euro cents per 50 kilobyte of data. 79 euro cents per 50 kilobyte of data. If I want to visit this site in Moscow, visiting this site alone, the front page alone, right, would cost me 97 euros. 97 euros. So you know what my problem with it is? For the same amount of money, I could get 18, sorry about the clicker, 18 prints of Vogue, right? For the same amount of money, which is just ridiculous, right? So cost is a big deal. And actually I was trapped in the situation as well when I ended up with a huge, huge bill at the end of the day. This is not cool, right? But if you want to improve performance, if you want to make it noticeable, you have to improve it by at least 20%. Try that with JavaScript and CSS. So the idea is, what if we just fake it? No reaction at all, okay? Well, we will be just a bit more optimistic about users' next step. So we can perform actions optimistically, meaning we can just pretend that an action succeeded right away. So if a user wants to upload the files, we can just say, hey, you're done. You're done. And if something happens along the way, well, you can say, well, you know what? Things happen, and why don't you try again? This kind of thing, right? We can adaptively prefetch content, kind of reprioritizing loading based on users' actions. I will show an example in a bit. And we can kind of move bits around when nobody is watching, keeping users busy for a while boring stuff happens. Because there is an online banking in the US. So you have an online banking sign-up form. You know how an online banking works, right? And the last thing you have to do on the site is you have to type your favorite movie character. It's an online banking site. You sign up, and you have to tell a bit about your favorite movie character. This is kind of strange, right? As it turns out, the step before that is uploading a PDF file. And you know, if you scan a PDF file, nobody compresses PDF files, so they are massive, right? 50, 70 meg, right? So while these files are being uploaded, because it's the final step, right? While these files are being uploaded, they're just keeping people busy for a while, right? But what they do, of course, they use this data later on to create personal character based on what the user actually wrote in the text area for the favorite movie character, which is kind of nice, a nice touch. And you say, well, come on, who does this stuff? This is kind of silly. So let's go to hugoboss.com. So you go to hugoboss.com, and you go to a product page, and they load a bit of JavaScript to show this button on page load. Don't ask me why they need JavaScript for that. I don't know, but they do, right? And then, once they realize that the mouse is within 200 pixels of the button, why don't we just start preloading JavaScript for writing a review, right? And then when the button is clicked, it appears right away. The window appears right away. Well, it's kind of weird in this specific case, but it shows that you can do this kind of thing, preloading adaptively based on what user does, right? But it's not it, and I'm finished soon. Because there is this wonderful paper on faster progress bars manipulating perceived duration with visual augmentations. So this is a really nice paper. I highly recommend you to read. So what they did is they studied different loading bars, progress bars, trying to understand which one performs best. Performance meaning perceived performance. So as it turned out, the optimal style is the backwards moving and decelerating reprogress bar, which made the load time appear 11% faster than a solid colored bar, right? So if you want to improve your performance by 11%, this is the best way to do it. Now try that with JavaScript and CSS, right? And this is really easy, you just have to replace an image, right? So that's nice. And you think I'm kidding? I'm not, because there is a library for that. And Progress.js a nanoscopic progress bar featuring realistic trickle animations to convince your users that something is happening. Okay? So you can start using it today, right? And you can increase performance dramatically. And what it leads us to is, of course, we have to think about not only perceived performance, but actual performance. So the idea is to use these performance budgets, where we can say, hey, this site has to load fast, which means we have to define some criteria. Let's say less than 1.5 seconds on DSL 16,000, perhaps 450, 500 KB in size, maybe less than 2 seconds on 3G. It's very optimistic, right? But if you start thinking about this, then you can, next time a designer comes to you, or your boss comes to you and says, we need to add a carousel, you say, sorry mate, I don't have a budget for you. Because the site has to load fast, and this is should be the most important thing to do. So when you have to add a new feature, then you have 3 options, right? You either optimize a new feature to feed the budget, you remove a feature that exists already, or you just don't add a new feature. And you, believe me, the last bit is the most efficient one, usually, right? So we don't have a lot of time now. I have 3 minutes. Could I have 3 minutes? Yes. Because I really, really excited about this. So, okay. It all started with this. Okay? So I really hate Ryanair. I really do. Is somebody from Ryanair over here? No? Oh, seriously? Ooh, okay, we have to talk. Okay, so I really do hate Ryanair in all possible ways, right? I never thought I could hate something that much, okay? I really do. But I'm asking myself, especially after this. So Andrew Sampson tweeted, Ryanair Exhibit A, I looked up fare yesterday, total 123 pounds, returned today, and fare is 237 pounds. Flash cookies, fare back to 123. By the way, I just realized that I'm being recorded and live streamed. Ryanair. Okay. So this is not cool, right? This is not cool. So I started asking myself, okay, what can I do to bring down Ryanair? And I'm not kidding, actually. So I was thinking, okay, sorry. When I think about Ryanair, this is what I think of, right? Think about pain. But most of us are using Ryanair because it provides certain value, right? And if value is more than pain, then we use it although we hate using it, right? But what if we try to trump it, adding delightful user experience to the value? So if you have resources and you have airlines, maybe we can make something to bring them down, right? Because actually it can be done. Here's a nice example for that. So, sorry, of course we want to be here, right? You know where Ryanair is. They're right here. We will make them cry. So, this is Hipmunk. And I love Hipmunk. I really do. I love Hipmunk. So essentially, they're doing the same what Ryanair does, but obviously better, right? So they have wonderful, wonderful user experience. You come to the site, you just get what you need, right? And it's really nice. So you can be flexible about when you leave and how you leave. And they also have this kind of chart, so letting you select how you want to travel. What I like most about this, you can sort it by agony. By agony, right? So maybe I don't want to stay too long in a certain airport, or maybe I have my personal whatever. Maybe I want to stay. Maybe I don't like layovers. Maybe whatever, right? But they sort it by agony. They know exactly what I do. They feel my pain to Ryanair, right? So this is amazing. And also they have this kind of ecstasy view for hotels. So maybe I want to have something really special, romantic, or maybe I want to walk, or maybe I want to go hiking, or whatever. Maybe I want to have a very special experience. They know exactly what I want to do, right? And I can also personalize it, which is nice. And it's like, I got an email from them 2 weeks ago. It's like the best friend I never had. Now is the best time to book Thanksgiving travel. Hipmunk did some research and found that booking your Thanksgiving flight before Labor Day could save you a boatload of money. My best friends don't do that. Don't send me these emails. It's just amazing. So for every potential negative experience, we could kind of provide rewards and kind of try to make the experience as delightful as it can be. And this is the last slide. This is what we do for our shop redesign right now. So we can use geolocation data to find out, okay, if it's somebody's coming from outside Europe, we can say, hey, we are shipping to your country, be it Bolivia or whatever. So we detect user's country and reassure that we are shipping our printed products. Input mistakes we are forgiving, and of course show on the error fields and hints. Please don't tweet that again. We have this slow checkout, meaning if we realize that somebody has spent more than 45 seconds in the checkout, we're giving them $5 discount just to keep going. Please don't tweet this. We also, if a card is declined, we provide alternate payment methods. If it's the first purchase, we provide a discount for the next one. If it's a large purchase, don't make a photo of this. We send a handwritten thank you note. So these are kind of little things, but they do make a difference. So with this, again, going back to this slide, I'm really in a happy position to do what I can do today, what I like doing, and I'm really thrilled to actually have made this experience in March, because now I kind of moved away from being a manager. I'm not managing anything anymore. I'm doing what I really love, editing, writing, doing this kind of thing, and it's been an immensely helpful experience for me. But also, most importantly, I can really build things now, which I couldn't do before, and we're in a very comfortable position to make lots of things available on the web today, and build really beautiful, shiny things if we're just smart and maybe a bit tricky sometimes, right? So go ahead, go out, and build everything you can, the best possible things, and make the best for your users. And thank you for listening. Well, we have books and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Beers, that matters.